Look at our students over there. They're eating roti canai. Oh my gosh, it brings back such memories, just like the old days.
40-some years ago when I came to Malaysia, the first thing that we had, get off the plane, we have roti canai.
When we first came, everybody introduced it to roti canai, and that curry was so hot.
Open air,
right.
Okay, and the smells and everything, not in an air-conditioned restaurant. You don't eat roti canai with tatar in an air-conditioned restaurant.
Joanne, what year did you come in the Peace Corps?
I was that first year. I was the second batch of the first year. We were so early that the director of the Peace Corps even came to our training.
Sergeant Shriver, was it your training?
Shriver was there. I have a picture here. It was me with him.
Wow, that was who John F. Kennedy appointed to start the Peace Corps, right?
That's the one, right.
That is amazing.
I know.
Well, it's interesting because you were here at the first batch. You were here in
Group 18.
Grade 18.
1967.
I was here in Group 98. Were your parents upset for you joining the Peace Corps? Were they worried?
I didn't even tell them at first that I was going. I hardly dared. And then when I did, my father said, "What?"
The US Peace Corps in Malaysia is a worldwide program funded by the US government. It began in 1962 with a group of 37 Americans. They arrived in Malaysia to help develop the country and foster goodwill. Every year, more volunteers would come, and so far over 3,500 volunteers have served in the country.
The biggest thing that influenced me with Peace Corps was when Kennedy made the statement, "Ask what you can do for your country, not what your country can do for you." And Peace Corps at that time, the philosophy was that you go and learn the culture in a country, and you become like an ambassador to show that Americans help people also. And it was a giving thing. It wasn't a selfish thing that you were going to get something out of it.
You know, you're just one person there as a Peace Corps volunteer, and you kind of wonder, are you making a contribution? But back then, nobody knew any Americans, so they didn't know what Americans were like. We were basically the first Americans that ever showed up.
In truth, I was 22 years old. I'd just come out of college, and I was one of those eager beavers, and so I'm not sure completely of my impact on the population I was working with, but I do feel like the mutual one, what they gave back to me, was amazing.
Karen and her friends traveled thousands of miles from home to serve under the program. When the program ended in 1980s, they chose to stay here.
When I arrived, they do a Peace Corps training in my year. They did it in Malacca, and I figured out one of the best ways to learn Bahasa. These books had just come out. It was Lat's first book, Kampung Boy. It's really thread-born because I read it and read it and read it and learned all my Bahasa through it. And then after that, I made my way up to Bukit Matajem, which is where the drug center I worked at was all male-oriented. And so it was really difficult. But I really found that what I got out of the Peace Corps experience was way more. People learned about America from me, and I learned about Malaysia from them. I lived with a Malay family, I lived with an Indian family, I lived with a Chinese family. And so I really learned to love and just cherish this culture here, this mixture of cultures, and I've been successful here.
Joanne was among the first batch of Peace Corps volunteers in Malaysia. She was sent to a girls' school in Malacca to teach English.
Well, this banner is celebrating my 50 years of Malaysia, starting over in that corner. This photo was taken by a newspaper man. This was our Peace Corps group arriving in Malaya, and so these were 4 or 5 of my friends who were in my batch. This one here was taken while I was still teaching at Sekolah Tun Fatima, and those are some of the younger girls that I taught, and they wanted a photo with me. When I came in the Peace Corps, I was asked to teach science in English to Malay girls who were brought in from the kampong. Then as time went on and they went to Bahasa as the main language in schools, so there we are now with a standard of English that is not that high among the young generation. And here we are coming around again to that need for teachers of English, and maybe we'll reintroduce the Peace Corps.
The Peace Corps started off as a renewable 2-year goodwill program to promote friendship between Malaysia and the US. But to some of these volunteers, their experiences have left a lasting impact on their lives.